Welcome to Spanish 211, Advanced Spanish 1, Introduction to Literature. My name is Sarah Marsh. I wanted to offer you today a visual of how an advanced level Spanish class could look in an online setting. This is a class I am in the process of designing for my Honor Spanish 5 in high school. It's an introductory course in literature that will highlight a lot of short stories, a shorter novel, and some poetry units, as well as some press articles. Each individual module or short story or poem has a specific list of requirements. So when the student enters into their LMS or their learning management system, whether that is Moodle, which you see here, or a Blackboard or a WebCT, whatever the learning management system may be, they would have different modules. So let's look at the first module. When they click on it, it will show them the due date. It will also show them all of the materials that need to be completed for that module. Now, every short story or literary module has discussion prompts. Some of these discussion prompts, right here, can be written and some are verbal discussions. Some discussion prompts will even allow for cross-collaboration amongst students. An example of the first discussion prompt here is for the story El Décimo, which is by Emilia Pardo Bazán. And this one, it is a precursor to actually reading the story. Looking at the visual aid, what can they deduce about the setting? What's going on in that picture? How are people dressed in comparison to others? Just to give them a visual representation of what they're about ready to read. So this particular discussion is more of a journal-based discussion prompt. So once they are done with their discussions, they have read the actual short story, which the short story is provided here in a link, an embedded link. But this particular short story is taken from Abriendo Paso Lectura. And so for copyright laws, they would need to purchase that book. But I have that text available electronically for them to work on remotely as well. So again, once they have actually completed their reading of the story, they have a pretty basic comprehension assessment. All of the questions are in Spanish. The only thing the learning management system does not allow for is for the words true and false to be in Spanish. It's just a preset through most learning management systems. But everything else is done in Spanish, and it's a variation between true and false and multiple choice questions for the comprehension. When they've completed their comprehension, we go into more of a word study, looking at words within the same family, looking at synonyms and antonyms. So a typical ampliación section would have them explain the significance of words in context, deducing by the actual sentence and the words surrounding it, what do these words mean? And in this particular activity, they have to find a synonym. And then it goes on to what's truly ampliación, which is to extend a word into its multiple facets, nouns, verbs, adjectives. We're taking actual words from the text that they have read, and they have to then put vestido into its noun form, put vestido into its verb form. All words within a similar family, so that way their writing, their vocabulary is just broadened, and that actually will transfer well into their writing skills. So the discussion, the comprehension, and the ampliación sections are all a daily assessment. It's preparation to get into more of the critical thinking, deeper analysis. For minor assessments, we have conversación, escritura, and audición. Now, for the escritura, which is the writing, I have here instructions that once they enter this, it is a 25-minute timed writing. They know that they're going to be writing an email to a friend and that they only have 25 minutes to read the prompt and to create an email type response. This will help eliminate any type of use of an online translator. It just limits their time and produces authentic student-produced responses. On this particular prompt, once I attempt it, it's giving me my warning. I have 25 minutes. It gives me my prompt and it gives me ample space to actually write my email response. The next minor assessment to this particular module is audición. And audición is the listening activities. There is not a time limit here. They are provided with the audio and they must listen to the question and then answer from multiple choice selections what the correct or the best answer is. There are actually 2 listening activities to go through. It is not directly related to the actual short story that they have read, but the topics in these selections are very similar. So they just play.
Audio program to accompany Abriendo Paso, Lectura, by...
And so it's an authentic text with an authentic speaker, so they do get a really good listening component within this course. One of the final minor assessments is conversation. The amount of conversation activities will vary from module to module, and that is also adjusted by how much conversation they're doing up here in the discussion. So, for example, these 3 discussions for the very first module are heavy on the writing side, so they actually have 2 conversations that they need to complete. So they'll be using an online voice recorder, which automatically records into an MP3 file, which is easily uploaded to most databases. So they will actually record themselves there, and then on this particular assignment, they have to add their submission, which means upload their file. And then that file can be graded and feedback can be given to the student both verbally and in written form. And so they have their prompt here of what they should be talking about. And then finally, the exams for the college level will actually be 3 short stories, 3 texts in 1. They will have more than 60 minutes to complete their exams because it does cover more content. However, just to show you what a typical exam looks like, it is time limited, so once they enter into the exam, they only have that set amount of time to complete it. Because it is 3 texts in 1, most exams will take a 90-minute session, and they can only access it once. So this is warning them of their time limit once they begin. And here we go into the ampliación. We're using the vocabulary that they have pulled from reading this literature, and that they have to create a definition and explain the significance for the particular story. They have to talk about the vocabulary as far as where it fits in a family and come up with a different type of word. So if it's an adjective, they have to come up with a noun or a verb. If it's a verb, they have to come up with a noun or an adjective. And then we get into actually examining the quotes within the story. So different sites are pulled from the actual story, El Décimo here, and they have to explain each phrase and then what significance it holds within the story. If it is said by a specific person, also who is saying this to give us better context. So there's a lot of quotes that they need to identify, the speaker, what it's saying, and what the significance is. A basic short answer question. and then an essay-based question where they select one of these two prompts to respond to with their own opinion. So it is an opinion-based essay for this particular test. So that's what a basic module would look like. The only difference between what you're seeing on your screen is that the exam would actually be 3 short stories as opposed to 1 every week. And that would give them approximately 4 major assessment grades. And with the major assessment component being 45% of their grade, that means that each individual test is 15%. So I also have included the syllabus that has a course description on it for your review. And if you have any questions, I would appreciate hearing them. Thank you.